Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene responded to the shocking assassination attempt of the Slovakian Prime Minister on Wednesday by immediately peddling conspiracy theories. Because, of course, right? Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico was shot multiple times in the small town of Hanlova. According to the BBC, he is in serious but stable condition. Juraj Satula, a 71-year-old man arrested at the scene of the attack, was charged on Thursday with the attempted murder of the prime minister. So, what's the motive, right? I mean, it's kind of unclear. There's some ideas here. It's a political motive, of course, and it's about governmental policy. So we'll get into that. But Marjorie Greene comes in without knowing a lot of this information and shares a post on X Wednesday, which contained a video with English subtitles in which Fico purportedly rails against the treatment of those who opposed vaccines and other government measures to manage the pandemic. Now, the Daily Beast has not verified the translation provided, so it's not really worth showing you that video. But Greene wrote, "This is great and courageous. No wonder they shot him." Who's they? What? I don't understand. Who's they? Okay. Now, the original post was made by an ex-user who describes himself as the conspiracy realist. Here we go. That post claimed that Fico had said that his party will not support strengthening the powers of the World Health Organization, and that multiple studies have confirmed scandalous consequences of mass vaccination with experimental, untested vaccines. The post reads, "Today he has been shot in public. As of yet, no motive for the attack has been given." Well, you might want to ask the person who did it. Oh, right, they actually did. Now, first, on Wednesday, the Slovak Interior Minister indicated that the assassination attempt was politically motivated, by policy, and I'll get into that. You're not going to be surprised that it has nothing to do with vaccines, because the anti-vax stuff is dumb. I'm sorry. I'm actually not sorry. It's stupid. COVID vaccines saved millions of lives. It's estimated that they saved 20 million in just the first year. And that is despite, in the EU specifically, not hitting the goal of 40% vaccine coverage by 2021. According to the journal Lancet, that actually could have saved an additional 600,000 people's lives. So, vaccines, especially the COVID vaccines, safe and effective against COVID, saving millions of people's lives. That's a fact. But again, none of this has to do with vaccines. No, what this has to do is certain policies that Fico has put into place and espoused. Now, he's been described as a populist, sort of leftist leader, former part of the Communist Party even, but it turns out he's very pro-Russian. Now, this guy, look, he's got some fascist tendencies, let's be honest. He's been described as moving towards becoming more of a strongman like Viktor Orban of Hungary, and Hungary is, of course, now considered to be pretty right-leaning, and very, again, leaning towards fascism. So now, a week before the attack, Politico had a piece on his plans to try to remake the country. Since winning a September 30th general election, Fico and his coalition allies have actually abolished a key anti-corruption office, halted state military support to Ukraine, and is now attempting to eliminate the free press. Fico's government on April 24th had approved a controversial proposal to scrap public broadcaster RTVS and replace it with what free speech advocates fear could be a propaganda mouthpiece for the ruling coalition. So anytime you go after the free press, that's a big problem. That shows that you cannot handle criticism. That's not exactly what a left-leaning leader would do. That's not what a person who believes in freedom would do. No, the reason that you would crush the press is because you you either want to do propaganda for your side and you want to crush dissent. Okay, you want to make sure that people are not getting accurate information about what you're doing. Okay, so that's one of the problems. Now, the government's replacement for RTVS, Slovak Television and Radio, would be a state institution, which under Slovak law gives the coalition great control over the hiring of general directors and its board of directors. The current RTVS boss will be dismissed, and one of the candidates to replace him is, guess what? A flat earther. Yeah, like a literal flat earther. All right, just in case you weren't, agreeing with me that this guy's a bit of a lunatic. Flat earther, everybody. Flat earther. All right, it's almost up there with
Jewish space lasers.
Okay, so now, look, it's getting bad. The media situation in Slovakia, according to one independent journalist, since the first day after the election, he has attacked journalists, calling us rats. Fico has always attacked journalists, but now he's taking an even harder line, calling us enemies and committing the entire government to doing the same. Sounds kind of Trumpian, right? Remember, Donald Trump's like, the press is the enemy of the people. You only call the press that when you've got stuff you want to hide. So that gets to the motive, right, of the actual shooter. And I'm not like promoting violence. I actually condemn violence. You shouldn't be, trying to assassinate your leaders. Okay, that's terrible. But according to the suspect himself, his motivation is some of the reforms that I have already mentioned. The decision to abolish a special prosecutor's office, the decision to stop supplying military assistance to Ukraine, and the reform of the public service broadcaster, and the dismissal of the Judicial Council head. So that's according to the shooter themselves. So yes, that is political, that is based on policies, but none of those involve the WHO or vaccines. So what Marjorie Greene is doing is amplifying nonsense conspiracy theories. Because of course, and of course, I know what you're going to ask too. It's like, okay, why should we care that Marjorie Greene is spouting off on nonsense? Understand that she is an elected official. She holds a certain measure of power and authority. And what she's doing is using it to repost brain rot. Okay, that's not good. That is the problem. You get these people that never wait for the facts to come out before posting stupid stuff that people will believe. Look, I understand and I expect that from randos on social media, all right? Not from elected officials who should have, a higher standard, okay? And look, honestly, I'm just getting tired of the constant barrage of bullshit from people like Greene and Boebert and Tuberville and this entire cast of clowns, congressional clowns, that have no business being in their current office. They're going to be that stupid and reckless.